Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Hold no punches.
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig? Today is Tuesday, August 13th, 2024. Coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network. Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, members of the AKs, which is the Vice President Kamala Harris' sorority, they are launching their own political action committee. We'll talk with former President Dr. Glenda Glover about that PAC. Also, Democratic Vice Presidential candidate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, speaks to AFSCME, making his first solo campaign appearance after a national convention in L.A. We'll show you some of what he had to say. Also, Texas Congresswoman Shelia Jackson Lee's daughter says she wants to finish the job her mother started by completing her congressional term. We'll give the details of what happened there in Houston. Also, an Ohio cop has been charged with murdering a pregnant Black woman who was accused of shoplifting. The attorney representing the victim's family will be here to join us. Also, in our Marketplace segment, we'll talk to a woman who created an interactive survey for the Harris-Walz campaign that links to donations and provides real-time feedback. That more. It's time to bring the funk. I'm Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the miss, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, roll, y'all. It's Roland Martin, yeah. Rolling with Roland now. He's funky, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now.
So a lot of people, when you hear about nonprofits, they assume that they cannot be involved in politics. Now, organizations cannot endorse candidates as an organization, but they can be involved in public policy issues. But organizations can also create separate entities. So for instance, my fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, we have a political action committee where we actually provide campaign funds and endorse candidates. Well, Alpha Kappa Alpha, they've actually launched a political action committee as well, which allows them to be able to support presidential candidates. That was recently started, and you're seeing more Black organizations create political action committees to be able to help candidates. There are other organizations. We see this happening on the national level. Collective PAC, of course, they support Black candidates across the country. many other organizations are doing the exact same thing. So the power of Divine Nine and many of our black organizations is crucial. You've often heard me talk about the importance of black fraternities and sororities, but not just them. Links, Jack and Jill, Prince Hall Masons, Eastern Star. There's so many Guardsmen. There's so many black organizations out here that should be doing more, as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to politics. So what you have going on with the Harris-Walz campaign is a HBCU Divine Nine initiative. That initiative is about taking all of these forces, all these organizations, the students, but also the alumni, and driving them to be involved in politics. One of the folks who is involved with that is the former president of Tennessee State University, Dr. Glenda Glover. She happens to be also former international president of Alpha Kappa Alpha, so she knows a little bit about Divine Nine. She joins us right now. Dr. Glover, glad to have you here. I've said this, and people, and I've challenged folks to disagree with me on this, that Divine Nine has what I call the most sophisticated organizational infrastructure out of all black groups. They're international, national, regional, state, grad chapter, undergrad chapter, and have initiatives going all the way down to elementary school. These groups are self-funded. Unlike most of our civil rights groups, they're not reliant upon corporate America for funds. And so what you have is a cohesive entity that is a lot different than the black church, civil rights groups, and so many others. And so how do you see galvanizing Divine Nine, galvanizing HBCU folks when it comes to this presidential campaign? I think you're on mute. Now we got you.
All right. Thank you very much. And thank you for inviting me. Yes, this is an exciting time for the Divine Nine organizations and for HBCUs, particularly since Vice President Harris attended HBCU. So we're looking at the PWI campuses also. There are many black students on PWI campuses who want to be a part of this movement. So we make sure we're not leaving them out. But what we're doing is ensuring that students, faculty, staff, those who are on the campuses, and then the alumni. There's a very important alumni database that's very excited about this campaign. So we're assisting them in largely get out the vote efforts, because being nonprofits, state schools, many of them, and the organizations themselves, the Divine Nine, you really can't endorse a candidate, but we just say, let's get them out to the polls, and if you get them out there, they'll figure it out. They'll figure out who to vote for once they get there. And so we're looking at how we can engage the alums, how we can engage the students and faculty and staff of HBCUs, as well as Divine Nine alums with membership.
And what I'm always trying to remind people, this is not anything new. In fact, I was on a call last night. There are some HBCU students. They want to do a call very similar to Win with Black Women, Win with Black Men, and the other calls that were done. And what we've seen is this is not just the first time. I've had to explain in national media. You had in 2020, 2022, HBCU folks and Divine Nine mobilizing, organizing around Raphael Warnock when he ran for the United States Senate, especially Alpha Brothers. You had Randall Woodfin when he ran for mayor of Birmingham. He had his Morehouse alumni and his Alpha alumni. We've seen this. Phyllis Randall in Virginia, county executive. She's a Delta. Again, tapping into that organizing infrastructure. And so you've always had this. Now the theme, though, is just keep impressing upon folks how to truly maximize all of this energy and power that we have, or what I say is unused power.
Well, you said something, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago on your show, when you said that this is an election where you are competing with the sofa and the TV about getting out to vote. And that's absolutely true. So we're mobilizing. We want to do a massive voter registration and a voter mobilization, voter engagement effort to ensure that individuals go out to vote. So we're starting with the students. Tomorrow night, we're meeting with students across the country, Divine Nine leaders, HBCU student leaders, students with Divine Nine leaders on college campuses, the undergraduate and collegiate leaders will join with HBCU leaders on the call tomorrow night with the campaign and talking about voter engagement, voter registration, voter mobilization, voter education, so they can understand the power of their vote. We have over 300,000 students, HBCU students, we want to talk to at some point. Right now, we'll start with one phone call with them tomorrow night and lay out the agenda to them. And we're going to have a massive voter registration day. National Voter Registration Day is on September 17th. And then we're going to do an HBCU celebration of all HBCU students around the country. And that's going to be a call similar to the Women with Black Women call. We have 44,000 on that call. So we expect to have a huge number of students. That will be, of course, after the convention, after school has started back and gotten settled in. So we're going to do an HBCU tour, then some of the big games, football games. So the Vice President plans to attend several activities on HBCU campuses. So we're really excited about the HBCU involvement, particularly the student involvement, as well as the alumni involvement.
And everything is local. And so are you mainly targeting the 7 battleground states? But you also have other races. You got critical Senate races. You got House races. And so how are you in terms of targeting where people are and then trying to get them to understand how to be motivated to register and vote?
Of course, the 7 battleground states are very, very important. The top 3, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. Those 3 states will have enough votes. If you can get those 3 states, that's enough to win. However, we're targeting also the remaining 4 in the battleground states: North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, and Nevada. Those are key states for the presidency. Now, every state is a key state when it comes to down the ticket, down the ballot, because you have to keep the Senate, you have to regain the House, and just ensure the local levels. All politics is local. We learned that as the state races. I learned when I was, when Tennessee State was having such trials last year, that how important it is at the state level. That's who make the rules. That's who can ensure the perpetuity of your university. That's who can give you the right board. That's who can give you the right presidents. And so the state levels, that cannot be overstressed. And then, of course, at local, the city council, every race is important. That's why we want to make sure those down the ballot races, that's why we're going to every single state to ensure that we have a presence on the down ticket races.
And again, those things, absolutely matter. And so data collection is also important. How are y'all focused on that? I'm always trying to tell people, I hate when people have events and they have rallies and they don't collect data who's there, because then you got nobody to follow up with.
Absolutely. That's what we're doing. We've set up the website so that each school will be represented on the website. Each HBCU will be on the website, and click on their school and find out all about the voting requirements. When is the last day to register to vote? The absentee ballots, the mail-in ballots, the polling places. And we're going to have a plan laid out by state, because as you know, everything is done by state, on state level. So we're breaking it down. So when you click on your school, you will know that. But you have to register first to get on the call. And that's how you collect data, so you can follow up to make sure that we met their needs. If you have any questions, you have any comments, any suggestions. But the younger minds, that's what we're going after. That's what we train every day. We can train that young mind to think politically, to think about what their vote, and get them excited, keep them excited, enthusiastic about this race. So yes, that's a good data point to make sure we have the information from the students who are participating.
All right. Dr. Glenda Glover, we certainly appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Good luck with that. I can't wait to see it in action in the fall.
But thank you very much, and thank you for all that you do.
All right, thanks so much. All right, folks. When we come back, we're going to talk about this with our panel. Also talk about the AKs creating their PAC and how more of us need to be very much involved in the political process on the funding side as well. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered right here on the Black Star Network.
Coming soon to the Black Star Network.
I still have my NFL contract in my house, having a case. It's 4 of them, for my 4-year contract. I got a $600,000 signing bonus. My base salary for that first year was $150,000. Matter of fact,
$150,000.
$150,000. That's what I made, $150,000. Now think about it. My signing bonus was a forgivable loan, supposedly. When I got traded to the Colts, they made me pay back my signing bonus to them. I had to give them their $600,000 back.
Wow.
Yeah, I was so pissed. Because, I try to be a man of my word. I'm like, you, I'll give you your money back. Even though I know I earned that money,
right.
I gave them their money back. I gave them $600,000 back. But yet, I was this malcontent. I was a bad guy. I'm about the money. It wasn't about the money. It was about doing right. Because I looked at, because you look at contract. Look at John Elway. John Elway was making $1 million, $800,000. I was making $150,000. I was doing everything. And I'm like, but yet I was, I got so many letters, so I just play for free and all that kind of stuff. You don't forget that kind of stuff.
Right.
That stuff is hurtful.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind $100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Check some money orders. Go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
Next on A Balanced Life, we're talking everything from prayer to exercise to positive affirmations and everything that's needed to keep you strong and along your way. That's on a next A Balanced Life with me, Dr. Jackie, on Black Star Network.
Next on the Black Table with me, Greg Carr. It's a rare occasion when a course taught in high school becomes a topic of national conversation, let alone a burning controversy. But that's exactly what happened with Advanced Placement African American Studies, courtesy of a certain Southern governor who's taking offense. On our next show, we take you inside the classroom for an up-close look at the course through the eyes of the teachers that teach it, the students that are taking it, and the communities that surround them.
And so many of the kids we saw, the truth. And it just impacts those kids in such a big way.
A master teacher round table on the next Black Table that you do not want to miss, right here on the Black Star Network.
What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Latasha from the A.
And you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
All right, folks, joining me right now on my panel. Glad to have them here on this day. Dr. Mustafa Santiago Ali, former senior advisor for environmental justice at the EPA, joining us from D.C. Nola Haynes, Georgetown University School of Foreign Service, joining us from D.C. as well. Dr. Larry J. Walker, assistant professor, University of Central Florida, joining us from Orlando. Glad to have all three of you here. Mustafa, I want to start with you. 2008 probably was the first major effort where African Americans began to bundle dollars, began to create political action committees. And that was with, of course, the election of President Barack Obama. You saw smaller efforts in different cities where you had Chicago, Atlanta, and others. When you talk about really, really engaging the political process, understanding PACs, how money is important, you begin to really see that in 2008. And I think ever since then, you're seeing more African Americans understand why giving matters, funding our own campaigns, and being able to impact the political process that way.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, money is a big part of politics. And if you want to be able to play a significant role in that space, of course, our vote is incredibly important, but also being able to support the candidates that are in alignment with what your values are and what the particular needs are of the communities that you serve. So if you want to be serious about helping to frame out the direction that our country needs to go in, then you've got to be in that space. And you raised the collective PAC earlier. You know, the great work that Quentin and Stephanie has done and others has been incredibly important in supporting Black candidates, because often, if you take a look historically for folks who come from our communities and run, they had a difficult time in being able to have the dollars that were necessary to be able to mount a real campaign. So this gives us an opportunity to not only level the playing field, but to also make sure that candidates understand what our North Star looks like and what we expect from them, and also to be able to hold folks accountable. So for folks who are out there who have big organizations that they're a part of, they should definitely give consideration to starting a PAC or becoming a part of one and supporting it.
You know, on that particular point there, Nola, listen, money is access and the ability to be able to get in front of candidates and speak to the issues. And that's why, and look, that's why people actually give. To the point Mustafa made, for a lot of Black candidates, they've grossly been underfunded. And so now, by understanding how you begin to raise money as a collective, how do you then begin to tap into your networks? As I said, when Randall Woodford ran for mayor of Birmingham, he tapped into his Morehouse alumni base. He tapped into his Alpha Phi Alpha base. And of course, that's no shock because you got 3 alphas sitting on this panel with you, Nola. So that's what, come on now, don't hate, congratulate. We might let you celebrate. So what you're dealing with is you tap into your networks when you need those resources.
Absolutely. And representation plays a huge part of this. You know, in the Black community, a lot of us, you need to prove stuff to us. And with the Win with Black Women call, I was so privileged and honored to be on that call, the power, the energy, the momentum. So it's a combination of seeing Vice President Harris at the top of the ticket, seeing her shining and glowing and all the things, and then to see the power of the Win with Black Women fundraising, to see the power with Win with Black Men fundraising. So that momentum and actually seeing that we can see ourselves at the top of that ticket in that way, I think it's a perfect storm in a very beautiful sense that people are actually seeing how important it is for us to raise our own money to make sure that we are supporting everyone up and down the ticket. So representation, momentum, and proving to Black folks, this is how we do it. And I think it's a beautiful thing. It's a powerful thing. And I think we'll see a lot more of it.
Larry?
Yeah, so Roland, what you described in the conversation with Dr. Glover is the intersection of Black political empowerment and money. And as you highlighted, Roland, listen, we know everyone on the panel, you need money to run a campaign. And in many sense, if you're running for a Senate seat, you need millions and millions of dollars. So I think it's really important as we have this conversation, particularly in the context of HBCUs. Obviously, we know how many of the states you highlighted earlier are really important. I must note that North Carolina has the most HBCUs out of any other state in the country. And so making sure you tap into that network of HBCUs, but obviously Roland, we discussed the importance of Divine Nine to make sure that people feel like this is an opportunity to get VP Harris in. Also, make sure we control the Senate, switch the House, so we can get bills focused on law enforcement to address some of the issues related to law enforcement, and through the George Floyd Policing Act to address issues that have plagued the Black community for generations.
Hear candidates often say, people will say, hey, man, I'm praying for you. They're like, hey, I appreciate you praying for me, but I also need you giving to me as well. And so prayers are important, but money also goes a long way in politics. When I was telling you about the Alpha Kappa Alpha Political Action Committee, and listen, folks, there are actual rules when it comes to PACs, because first of all, PACs are not supposed to be in coordination with campaigns. We know that's a lie, because it actually happens. So that's one thing. Also, the AKA PAC, they will be accepting donations up to $5,000 from members of the sorority and their families to support, again, federal campaigns and political parties. And so it's an unusual venture for the sorority, but again, it's no shock there are other groups that actually have the exact same thing. Got to go to a break. We come back, we're going to talk about this shooting in Ohio, where a cop has been charged in the death of a pregnant Black woman who was accused of shoplifting. Shocking and stunning video. We'll talk about that. Also, we'll talk about Governor Tim Walz in Minnesota speaking at the AFSCME convention today in Los Angeles, his first solo appearance since he was picked by Vice President Kamala Harris to be her running mate. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Don't forget, support the work that we do. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing on average $50 each, which comes out to be $4.19 a month, 13 cents a day. Now, folks, do understand, we don't have millionaires and billionaires supporting this show. We're trying to sit here and do more and get these advertisers to support us, but the reality is that's difficult to do. So, everybody who gives during the show will get a shout out from me. Got several things that are going on. We got to raise $25,000 to go to the Democrat National Convention next week. Also, and I'm going to show y'all a little bit later in the show, a couple of things that are happening with our Robo-Mobile. Need an update on that as well. And so a lot of things happening. So we need your support for the work that we do. We're the only Black-owned media daily show. Ain't nobody else out here, y'all. What we do every single day with this show and the Black Star Network and the shows that we have there, nobody else is doing. The Griot and Byron Allen cancel all of their shows. They're gone. Didn't even last 1 year. Black Enterprise? Nope. TV One? Nope. Essence? Nope. Blavity? Nope. Rolling Out? Nope. All of these folks are not doing what we do every single day, giving you quality news and information that you cannot find anywhere else. So, send your check and money order, P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C., 20037-0196. Cash App, $RM Unfiltered. PayPal, R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. We'll be right back.
Hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds.
An angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol. We've seen
We're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate Black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, Dave.
This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear.
Hello, I'm
Jamia Pugh. I am from Coatesville, Pennsylvania, just an hour right outside of Philadelphia.
My name is Jasmine Pugh. I'm also from Coatesville, Pennsylvania.
You are watching Roland Martin Unfiltered. Stay right here.
An Ohio grand jury indicted the white Ohio cop who killed a black pregnant mother who they suspected of shoplifting last year. That cop was indicted on a murder charge. Blendon Township police officer Connor Grubb is facing 4 counts of murder, 4 counts of felonious assault, and 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter. On August 23rd, Grubb and other officers responded to the report of a woman stealing alcohol from the Kroger store. Once confronted in the parking lot, Young tried to drive away, and that's when Grubb opened fire into her car. Young and her unborn child did not survive. Watch this video.
Out of the car. Out of the car. Out of the car.
7 back in service, 1828.
Get out of the car. Then get out. No, then get out. Get out of the fucking car. Get out of the car. Get out of the fucking car. Get out of the car. Shots fired. Shots fired. Stop the goddamn car. Stop the goddamn car.
We're going to have a 34 on
Folks, here's a second angle of that stunning, shocking shooting. Angle here of this particular shooting of Takia Young, folks. She was 21 years old when she was confronted in Blendon Township, which is near a suburb of Columbus called Westerville. Joining us right now is Sean Walton, the attorney for the family. Sean, glad to have you here. They concluded that the action this officer took was completely unnecessary, correct?
Correct. And he's now indicted on 4 counts of murder, 4 counts of felonious assault, and 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter. So they saw what we just saw in that video.
What was crazy here is that car starts moving and they just instinctively start firing. It's not like they were in danger.
Yeah, and so, having this case for a year now, what we've come to understand is that this was totally unnecessary. Connor Grubb goes in front of that car, and he draws his weapon and points it at Takia as she is sitting still. A store employee came out and said that, she was stealing alcohol. At that point, Connor Grubb came over, stepped in front of her car, and pulled the gun out and said, "Get the F out the car." So, for us, this is a clear example of what comply or die looks like for Black Americans. There's no way that this petty theft should have resulted in his gun coming out, let alone him firing the second her car barely moves. And, again, when you slow it down, you'll see that she moves her steering wheel all the way to the right until it locks to try to make sure that she moves away from him but does not hit him as she's in fear of her life, as this gun is pointed at her.
She was pregnant. She's already the mother of a 6- and a 3-year-old, and that child was due just 3 months later.
Yep, November. Yeah, and so, what we have here is a family that's devastated, by this act of police violence. We have Takia, who was pregnant, and, she would have been the first girl. She had 2 boys already. Those boys have lost their little sister, and they've lost their family, off this act of unnecessary brutality. And so what we know about Connor Grubb is that he's a combat veteran. And I've had a lot of cases like this where we have these military veterans who have, served our country, but they've also been treating black and brown people as enemies. And then they're placed in our communities, and so they turn a Kroger parking lot into a combat zone. And so we can't have that. That's why these murder charges are so important, not just for Takaya, but for her unborn child, because that was a life that was lost.
I'm curious. There were protests and things along those lines. Did any of these rabid pro-life people, did they join y'all? Because they always, pro-life. And so here you have an officer, not only killed her, but also killed her unborn child. Just curious.
No, not to the extent that we would have thought. I mean, you would think that they'd be out there pushing, for support for this family, and it just didn't happen. And we've spoken very much about, how Takaya's unborn daughter had a right to life. And so, again, what we see is that there are different rules for black and brown people in this country. But at the same time, our hope is that through, pushing accountability here, we can ensure that the Constitution and the laws of this country work for black and brown people as well. It won't bring Takaya back, but, the video is one of the worst that you'll see. And it's a shame that it took this long to get an indictment. That process has to change, but he's now facing the fate that he should be facing, and that's a jury that he has to answer to.
Well, one of the things that we always say listen, getting the indictment is one thing, but the conviction is necessary. And then after that, what is the sentencing going to be? So there's a whole lot more work and focus that needs to happen on this case.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I think that as we look at these systemic issues, I'm all about trying to figure out how we get radical change, right now, because even the conversation around whether she did anything that warrants her death here is not a conversation that should be normalized in any way. And so we have to really look at why Connor Grubb felt that he could pull his gun out in that scenario and cuss at this young girl because she looks young, and demand that she exit the vehicle, or else he was going to do exactly what he did. It didn't matter if she drove off. It's important to point out that that gun came out and the car was not in motion. He had no fear for his life. He just felt like he could be a bully with that gun, and that's what we see far too often.
Indeed. Sean Walton, we surely appreciate it. We'll keep watching this case.
Absolutely, Frat. Appreciate all the work you do.
All right, bro. Thanks so much. All right, I'm going to go back to our panel. Larry, I want to start with you. This is the thing that we keep seeing over and over and over again. Accused of shoplifting. That's not enough to kill somebody. And that's what drives me crazy with these stories. The actions of these officers. They literally believe they can operate, act with impunity.
And Roland, one of the things about it is, I know I said the last segment, talk about the George Floyd Policing Act. It just passing that bill, if we do eventually, it won't necessarily end these tragic murders of black folks, because this is rooted in racism. And we know one of the issues that black folks have when they're in encounter law enforcement is, we know, based on statistics, we're far more likely, based on an interaction with law enforcement, to end up dead. And so I think that context matters for folks understanding the fear that black folks deal with when we even see someone in law enforcement in a car walking by. But this young sister lost her life was taken from her, and the life of her unborn child. And it didn't happen. And one of the problems we deal with is aggressive cops, particularly those who see black folks and immediately think that they're a threat to their safety. And once again, this is more an inherent issue in our society. And once again, how do we deal with racism, confronting racism, and making sure people are aware of their racist views? Because we can't allow those folks who have these deep-seated beliefs to give them a badge and a gun. Because once again, we know that black folks, based on just interaction with law enforcement, are far more likely to be killed.
Nola, Larry is right. And keep in mind, Donald Trump has been made perfectly clear. He wants to give cops 100% immunity, even in actions like this.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, Donald Trump is a national security threat for many reasons, and that being one of many. But, watching this video, this is my third time seeing the video, and every single time I see it, the thing that strikes me is the disdain and disgust in the officer's voice when he pulled his gun. it was like he just didn't like her even existing. It wasn't because he was in fear of his life. It wasn't because he thought he was going to be ran over. He just did not like this young Black person in front of him, clearly who he just thought was beneath him. You know, like you can hear the contempt in his voice. And, you know, in my line of work in the national security community, I'm surrounded by a lot of people, law enforcement, a lot of ex-military people. And this is one of the things that they also can't stand, because this does not help them in their work when they go out into the communities. One of the main issues is distrust in the communities. How do you gain trust when things like this keep happening? To ask that young Black girl to get out of her private property, to pull a gun on her at 6 months pregnant, and to talk to her like she is a piece of crap. These things, they just really make me very emotional. And this is another reason why Donald Trump and his ilk cannot get into office, because you're absolutely right, Roland. We will be getting gunned down and murdered left, right, and center.
Mustafa.
Well, we just got to pay attention. Like you mentioned before, Project 2025, is also focused on taking rights away from us. But, as I've shared before, and I share it from experience, that everyone is not meant to be a police officer. And if we continue to not do these psychological evaluations and make decisions about who is fit to serve and who isn't, then you're going to continue to have these individuals out there that are quick to pull the trigger. They're quick to pull the trigger because, as the attorney had shared earlier, some of them actually think that they are at war with our community and with our people. To be at war with an individual or a group of folks, that means that you have to be able to dehumanize them so that you can do whatever is necessary for you to achieve whatever your objective is. And that's what you saw play out. For him to that quickly pull that trigger without his life being in danger tells you the mindset that he was already in as soon as he approached the vehicle. Didn't ask, can I see your ID, or what your name is, or any of those other types of things. Didn't even think I could shoot the tires out instead of shooting an individual to be able to stop them from getting away. So there are all these different dynamics that play out when people do not see you as human. They see you as less than human, and they feel that deep down inside of their head some way that you are sacrificable based upon whatever actions they think you are doing.
The police chief of Glenda Township, John Belford, released this statement after the announcement of Grubb's indictment.
Today, the Franklin County Grand Jury indicted Glenda Township police officer Connor Grubb following the tragic death of Takaya Young and her unborn child last August. A grand jury's indictment is merely the first step in the legal process, and Officer Grubb is presumed innocent like anyone charged with a crime. Since this tragedy occurred, our goal has been to be as transparent and open as we can with the community. Because we requested an outside investigation, Glenda Township played no role in the investigation, and we continue to believe that you deserve to know as much information as we can provide. We're starting the disciplinary process immediately. After reviewing the facts, the trustees will decide on the necessary disciplinary actions. Ohio law and our contract with the FOP require us to take several administrative steps before we make any decisions. I want to be very clear. We're not passing any judgment on whether Officer Grubb acted properly. We haven't seen the evidence. However, since people who've been indicted may not legally possess a firearm, the indictment against him leaves us with no choice but to immediately begin the disciplinary process. Finally, I also want to address why we're now disclosing Officer Grubb's name. The victims' rights provision in the Ohio Constitution and state law are mandatory. The law doesn't leave law enforcement with any choice on whether or not to redact the names of potential crime victims unless the victim agrees to it. We redacted Officer Grubb's name as required by Ohio law until he was identified publicly by the prosecutors after the grand jury's decision. Justice is a process, not a result. Officer Grubb is presumed innocent, and the criminal justice system will take the matter from here.
Folks, the Fraternal Order Police Capital City Lodge number 9 President Brian Street, well, of course, you know exactly what he said. Capital City Lodge number 9 is deeply disappointed with the recent decision to indict Blendon Township Officer Connor Grubb. The grand jury process does not include a presiding judge or defense attorney. Prosecutors are free to present whichever evidence they deem fit. However, this discretion can sometimes be misused, leading to politically motivated indictments, which are highly concerning. The integrity of our legal system depends on unbiased and fair prosecutorial practices. Politically driven charges undermine public trust and compromise the pursuit of justice. We stand firm in advocating for an impartial justice system that focuses on truth and facts, not politics. I'm not reading the rest of that bullshit. Here's the whole thing here. When you see that kind of crap like that, what they're saying is, oh, we want the DA to do this in our cases, prosecute. Oh, as one of us, oh, the system is unfair. This is not impartial justice. Shut the hell up.
Yeah, so, I want to say two things, and something that Mustafa said, something I thought about also, about why not shoot out her tires if you thought that there was a level of danger. But two quick points on what you just said, Roland. The man reading that statement, it was so dry. It was so impersonal. There was no sort of authentic engagement with the community, a community that is reeling from yet another senseless Black death. And that's part of the problem, right? And then you go to the statement that you were reading, something, again, that is impersonal, and making sure that the goal of the statements are to say, that the officer is not yet found guilty. So we need to make sure that, we're not prosecuting him in the eyes of the public. Not too much on the Black girl who was killed, but making sure that this officer isn't prosecuted in the eyes of the public. And we all saw that video where he put that gun on that young Black girl because he just didn't like her. So, this is maybe an issue that I should just stop right here talking about because I might get myself in trouble. But this has got to stop. This has got to stop.
And hopefully it will, but unfortunately it hasn't. All right, folks, so tight 1 second, going to a break. We come back. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz talks to AFSCME, the National Convention in Los Angeles. In his first solo appearance, is being picked as the VP running mate with Vice President Kamala Harris. We'll show you some of what he had to say next on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
Next on A Balanced Life, we're talking everything from prayer to exercise, to positive affirmations, and everything that's needed to keep you strong and along your way. That's on a next A Balanced Life with me, Dr. Jackie, on Black Star Network.
On the next Get Wealthy with me, Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, Black Americans have 1/10 the wealth of their white counterparts. But how did we get here? It's a huge gap. Well, that's why we need to know the history and what we need to do to turn our income into wealth. Financial author and journalist Rodney Brooks joins us to tell us exactly what we need to do to achieve financial success.
You can't talk about why we are, as Black people, where we are, unless you talk about how we got here.
Bridging the gap and getting wealthy, only on Black Star Network.
I'm Marissa Mitchell, a news anchor at Fox 5 DC.
Hey, what's up? It's Tammy Roman, and you are watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
All right, folks, today in Los Angeles, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz actually was speaking at the AFSCME Commission, the American Federation of State, County, Municipal Employees. This was his first solo speech since he was picked by Vice President Kamala Harris to be her running mate on the Democratic side. Of course, you see right there him embracing Lee Saunders. Lee, of course, my alpha brother. He is the president and CEO of AFSCME. And of course, the cable networks did not cover this. No shock. If Donald Trump was speaking, they would. But that's why we have black-owned media. And when you own it, you can do what you want to do. So here is some of what he said. We also live streamed his speech on the Black Star Network. So if you want to see the whole speech, go to our YouTube channel or go to the Black Star Network app. Let's roll it.
You know, you can tell a lot about people in their personal lives. He spent a decade stiffing service workers from dishwashers, waiters, and carpenters on his own properties to enrich himself. As president, he cut overtime benefits for millions of workers, and he opposed any effort to raise the minimum wage. That's all you need to know. You don't have to ask twice. We know who they are. A guy who goes to Mar-a-Lago, and this is a direct quote, he sits there and tells his friends, "You're rich as hell and we're going to cut your taxes." I believe him when he says that. But he also turns around and tells workers their wages are too high. I keep bringing this up. Who do you know who's asking to cut taxes on billionaires while stiffing working people? I don't know anybody. And I'll tell you what, I think there's a lot of people think that they're on his side or voting for him, that when you put it to them like that, they start thinking things differently. This is where we need to talk to our neighbors. We need to engage. And I'll tell you, his running mate, I don't know if that was a value add to this campaign or not, but he's one of 4 senators, 4, that has never cast a vote on a pro-worker bill in his life. Not once. A stop clock's right twice a day. This guy can't get it right once. Not once for workers. And by the way, these guys are even attacking me for my record of service. And I just want to say, I'm proud to serve my country, and I always will be. With my dad's encouragement, a guy who served in the Army during the Korean War, I signed up for the Army National Guard 2 days after my 17th birthday. I served for the next 24 years for the same reason all my brothers and sisters in uniform do. We love this country. Then in 2005, I felt the call of duty again, this time of being service to my country in the halls of Congress. My students inspired me to run for that office, and I was proud to make it to Washington. I was a member of the Veterans Affairs Committee and a champion of our men and women in uniform. I'm going to say it again as clearly as I can. I am damn proud of my service to this country. And I firmly believe you should never denigrate another person's service record. To anyone brave enough to put on that uniform for our great country, including my opponent, I just have a few simple words. Thank you for your service and sacrifice. But look, it's not what they've done that we should be concerned with here today. It's what they're going to do. One of the clear goals of that Project 2025 to-do list is to put the screws to working people, making it harder for us to collectively bargain, allowing employers to drastically cut overtime or even eliminate it. And make no mistake about this, Donald Trump and J.D. Vance want to eliminate Ask Me and all public sector unions altogether. Hell, they're even going after the 40-hour work week. Someone was joking and said, what's next, child labor? Oh yeah, that's in there too, by the way. Reducing the rules around our children, putting them into dangerous jobs again. The folks who came before us spilt blood and treasure and spent their lives working to give us dignity and safety in our workplace so you can simply do a good day's work and go home to your family safely at night. Project 2025 will take all that away. It'll also repeal what you worked so hard for, the Affordable Care Act and its protections against pre-existing conditions, and they'll gut Social Security and Medicare. I said this too. Look, I guess you can't blame them if you're billionaires. I don't know, but I'm guessing billionaires aren't waiting for their Social Security check to come in to get by. But I know people who are, like my mom, who depends on her entire retirement on Social Security benefits that she earned, by the way, and that we have we should have every expectation that we're not cutting taxes for the wealthiest while we hurt the most vulnerable amongst us. So be clear. Trump's playing dumb. Oh, I don't know about 2025. Some of you heard this say it, because I'm not ever closing the yearbook on this. I'm a football coach at heart. And I'll tell you one thing I know for sure is, if you're going to take the time to draw up a playbook, you're damn sure going to use it. So don't think that they're not going to use that playbook they drew up, because they're going to. But I want to be clear. It's your neighbors, it's our friends that have been in this. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about Trump, Vance, and this group that's around them. Because some of you in here with no or gray hair like me can remember when Republicans actually stood for and talked about freedom. We know they're there. We know those are our relatives. But it turns out that this guy means that freedom should be for the freedom of government to go into your exam room and tell you about your choices. You've heard me say it. This is not hard. In Minnesota, we respect our neighbors and we respect their personal choices. Now look, it's not difficult. I might not agree with my neighbor's choices or make the same one. But this country's great because we have a golden rule that makes things work. We mind our own damn business on those things. We mind our own damn business. Why would you think I need your advice to tell me what books I can and cannot read, or when to have a family, or how to have a family, or what religion to worship, or how to organize? You stay in your lane and I'll stay in mine. That's not that difficult. So be clear. You watch our next president as she comes out on stage, and she comes out to a song about freedom. When she's talking about freedom, she means you're free to make your own health care decisions. You don't need us. You don't need us. And as a school teacher, I'll tell you what, children should be free to go to school without worrying about being shot dead in their classrooms. Education should be a ticket to the middle class, not crippling student loan debt. Here's the thing. We don't have that long to go here, but think about the future that we can create. We know what the past is. We know what these guys are going to do because they wrote it for us. Convenient of them to write it in Project 2025, so we know that. That's not the future we want. We want the future, and here's exactly what Vice President Harris will do when she gets to the White House. As president, Vice President Harris said she will sign the PRO Act and the Public Service Freedom Negotiation Act right into law. Done. We will stand together on the fundamental principle to collectively bargain for your own lives and your own jobs. And we believe in fairness. That's what we believe in. That's why corporations can start paying their fair share, and that's how it works. At the same time, what we did in Minnesota is lower taxes for the working folks, and we have the fairest tax system in the country, and things work out pretty well. We can protect Social Security. And something we did, and I want to thank, I know they're in here, my Minnesotans who are in the House. It was AFSCME that put into place the most generous paid family and medical leave in the country in Minnesota. We're investing in our public schools, and it's, yeah, I'm a little biased on this one, but I think you're probably with me on this. How about we give our teachers a long overdue raise for the work that they do? All right, I know you've heard these speeches, big order, optimistic or whatever. Well, I got to tell you, I will cop to being an eternal optimist. That's me. But I come by it honestly. I supervised the damn high school lunchroom for 20 years. You do not survive that job without being an optimist, I will guarantee you. And I also think you've heard me say this, hope is the most powerful word in the English language. It was so powerful for when my wife and I first had our first child, we named our daughter Hope. But my wife often reminds me, hope is a great word and a beautiful name, but it's not a damn plan. We can't hope that we defeat Donald Trump. We can't hope that we can collectively bargain. We can't hope we protect Social Security. We can't hope that we address climate change. You don't hope to win. You plan, prepare, and work to win. Look at this place. This place is filled with people who like hard work. These are people who get up and enjoy hard work and know how to get it done. So what do you think? A room full of 1.4 million AFSCME members, and this room here, how many voters do you think we could turn out in an hour? How many friends can we bring to the polls? We got over 4,000 people in this room. We won states by less than 10,000 votes in some cases. And I don't know about you, and I know it. This is going to be a close, tough race. It is going to be a tough one. But if each of us does an extra shift, an extra hour, a little bit more, we get to wake up on that morning after the election and know that the work we did transformed the lives for millions, transformed generations, impacted the world. Ask me. That's how it happens. That's how it happens. That's a plan. That's how the hope turns into the reality, turns into improved lives. It's just like that. We organize, we donate, we volunteer. Look, I've been around you people. I know the jobs you do. I know what this president does, because I thought you had to register to vote in Minnesota. You were out there so much for me because you were living there. You turn elections. You turn lives. You negotiate contracts. You press legislatures to do the right thing. We know how to do this. We've got 84 days to take control of our own destiny. 84 damn days. And I've said this, you hear me say this. That's easy. We'll sleep when we're dead. We'll do the work now. We'll do the work now. And you do it for the most beautiful and selfless reason, because you believe in the very soul of your being that you believe in the promise of what America can be. You believe we can all enter the middle class. You believe we can all have dignity. You believe we can all thrive. But you know what? We got to fight. Because as the next president of the United States says to me often, when we fight, we win. When we fight, we win. When we fight, thank you, AFSCME.
I think what you're seeing here, Larry, Governor Tim Walz is driving these Republicans crazy because they're so used to pigeonholing Democratic nominees. And so here you have somebody, veteran, they're trying to swift boat him. It ain't working. Listen, loves guns, loves to hunt. Oh, damn, a little hard to hit him on that one. Then, of course, teacher, coach. When you talk about that sort of resume, and he is coming off in many ways as just a regular guy. They can't try to hit him with, oh, he's a East Coast, West Coast, Hollywood elite. None of that stuff works. And that's why I think this pick was awesome. I know so many people wanted Josh Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania, but I love how by Vice President Kamala Harris picking him, it's driving them up the wall.
Yeah, everything they throw at him, it doesn't stick. And he reminds me of the guy, a person you're in line at the supermarket and they're behind you and you start chatting. Next thing you know, you're outside talking to him for half an hour. He's charismatic. And Roland, you're right. He checks a lot of boxes off: teacher, military vet, et cetera. And I think the reason why they're having a hard time, anything that they throw at him is not working is because the reality is he's authentic. he's just, some people are just like that, and it's rare to find a politician sort of like that, but he's just being who he is. And so I think the public sees that. So the trouble in terms of trying to swift voting and all these other, allegations they're trying to make against him is not working, is that he's authentic. And then on top of that, he's charismatic, and he comes across as kind of an everyday man who happens to be a governor of a state, and maybe possibly in the next couple of months, vice president of the United States. And so, in contrast with J.D. Vance, who's a venture capitalist, who doesn't come across as authentic, and then that's why you got all the memes about dolphins and couches and everything else, because there's a lack of authenticity there, and people pick that up right away.
Another thing here, Mustafa, that you're seeing, again, I talk about the contrast. How when you listen to Governor Tim Walz, when you listen to Vice President Harris, they totally sound different. What they're focusing on, what they're engaged in, is the language they use. They are offering absolutely hope, optimism, energy, as opposed to this drab, oh my God, America is going to hell, everything is awful. I mean, you've got Republicans putting out, of course, they're already going to the racist meme. Trump put out, this was America under Trump, and this is America, cities under Vice President Kamala Harris. And we see the racist game they're playing.
Yeah, it's an old playbook. And folks are tired of it. And folks have seen it before. And people appreciate that, both Vice President Harris and Governor Walz are bringing a message that resonates with folks and that folks are hungry for. People are tired of all the anger that comes from the right. And they're tired of people talking about how nothing can get better unless I'm the individual who does it. That's not how America should work. It is about we the people. It is about us coming together and believing in someone, but also making sure that we're working with them and also holding them accountable. And when you look at Vice President Harris and Governor Walz, those are individuals who receive that information and want it to actually be a part of how they're going to move forward. The other thing about Walz is that he has a track record. He has a track record not only as a governor, but also as a representative, and of course as a football coach, and all these things that people can actually see themselves reflected in. We all talk about representation matters. Now you have an individual who he's not rich. He didn't get his money in Silicon Valley or on Wall Street. They say he doesn't even invest in stock. He is an individual who they talk about, you need to pick yourself up by your bootstraps. Well, he's an individual who's been able to do that, along with Vice President Harris as well. So the reason that their message is resonating is because it is about hope, it is about joy, it is about a better day today and in the future. And that's what people want. And unfortunately, the other side has not been able to figure out that since you have no policies to actually hold people's attention, then you should be able to hold them with something of value, and they haven't been able to find that.
So, Nola, this is a graphic the Trump War Room put out on their social media. And again, you see, import the third world, become the third world. On the left, your neighborhood under Trump. On the right, your neighborhood under Kamala. That's a absolute, flat-out racist campaign, and they have no choice. They are all about how do you push the racial buttons of white America, and that's exactly what Trump and Vance are doing.
Yeah, it's ugly. It's ugly rhetoric. It's been ugly from day one. It will continue to be ugly. But under a Trump-Vance regime, they will absolutely enact it. I like to remind people that the first National Security Act of Trump's presidency was the 2017 travel ban that was followed up by the 2020 travel ban, right, where he called African countries assholes, right? So, I mean, the proof is in the pudding. This isn't just rhetoric. This, floating around Project 2025 isn't just something that those on the left are doing for propaganda's sake. It is a very real document. I've been in rooms, very important rooms, where it was talked about in a very serious manner. This thing is real. It exists. And I just want to say a few things. about Coach. The one thing that I love about Coach, first of all, hope is here. I want to start there. Yes, I'm Team Hope. I'm all about it. And Coach is relatable. And that's the thing with the magic with him and VP. They're both relatable. You know, I love the way that VP leans into her HBCU education. And I also love the fact that she came from UC Hastings Law School in California, you know, because that's like a lot of the homies went to Hastings, you know what I mean? So there's a level of relatability that people feel because it's authentic, it's relatable, they feel the passion. And what the other side wants, people talk about this return to 1950s. I'm going to go back further. They want the Gilded Age back. They want to live in these fantastical mansions where just a few families prosper, and to live that Aristotelian ideal where you have to step on the backs of the underrepresented in order for you to live that ideal life that requires free labor or paying little to nothing for that labor. Let's be very clear about this vision. It's not just a return to the 1950s where, you know, you had clean white suburbs and Black people weren't allowed. This is something completely different. The way that rights will be stripped away from women, wanting us back in the kitchen, barefoot and pregnant. Vanston already said it. This is something grotesque. It is something perverse, and it is not going in the right direction. This is not progress. And I'll just say, you know, I think about Project 2025 through three lenses: as a woman, as an educator, and as a national security expert. And that document, make no mistake, is destabilizing to the entire country. It is a national security risk, just like Trump. I don't know that much about Vance. I saw something about a couch. I don't know. But, you know, all I'm saying is, you know, we gotta do what needs to get done, and hope is here, and I couldn't be more excited.
Indeed. All right, folks, hold tight one second. But before we go to the break, Cincinnati, I will be with you on Thursday at the Black Family Reunion. That's right. I will be in Cincinnati. Of course, the Black Family Reunion celebration was founded by the National Council of Negro Women in 1989 to celebrate and recognize the strength of the African-American family throughout the nation. I'm gonna be at, here's the location. I'm gonna be at Corinthian Baptist Church, 1920 Tennessee Avenue in Cincinnati. The event begins at 7 o'clock, so I look forward to being in Cincinnati again on Thursday for the Black Family Reunion. So look forward to being there. I'll broadcast live the first hour while I'm there, and then, of course, then I go speak, which will also carry on the Black Star Network. All right, folks, got to go to a break. We come back more on today's show. Don't forget, support us in what we do as well by joining our Bring the Funk fan club. Send your check and money order to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C., 20037-0196. Cash App, $RM Unfiltered. PayPal, R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Let me shout out Justin Blakeney, Michelle Cheek, Deidre Swindale, Arnold Tillman, William McKinnon, Martha Johnson, Claudia Douglas Smith, Celia Richardson, for all giving or doing today's show. If you want to support us as well, folks, please join the Bring the Funk fan club. Again, Cash App, $RM Unfiltered. PayPal, R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. And yesterday, y'all saw me wearing the t-shirt yesterday, says, "My Black Job is Voting." You can actually order that shirt. You can get a 10% discount by using the promo code Roland. Go to DaciasDesigns.com, DaciasDesigns.com to get your shirt, "My Black Job is Voting." And again, some of the proceeds coming back to Roland Martin Unfiltered to help fund the initiative that we're doing. Go to the website or use the QR code right there on the right side. They have the shirt in multiple colors, all the Divine Nine colors and other colors as well. So if you want to get your "My Black Job is Voting" shirt, go to DaciasDesigns.com, DaciasDesigns.com. We'll be right back.
On the next Get Wealthy with me, Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, Black Americans have 1/10 the wealth of their white counterparts. But how did we get here? It's a huge gap. Well, that's why we need to know the history and what we need to do to turn our income into wealth. Financial author and journalist Rodney Brooks joins us to tell us exactly what we need to do to achieve financial success.
You can't talk about why we are, as Black people, where we are, unless you talk about how we got here.
Bridging the Gap and Getting Wealthy, only on Black Star Network.
Next on A Balanced Life, we're talking everything from prayer to exercise to positive affirmations and everything that's needed to keep you strong and along your way. That's on a next A Balanced Life with me, Dr. Jackie, on Black Star Network.
Hey, yo, what's up? This is Mr. Dalvin right here. What's up? This is KC. Sitting here representing the Jodeci, that's Jodeci, right here on Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Charlicia Hurd has been missing from her Auburn, Alabama home since June 28th. The 16-year-old is 5 feet 4 inches tall, weighs 120 pounds with black hair and brown eyes. Anyone with information about Charlicia Hurd should call the Auburn, Alabama Police Department at 334-501-3100, 334-501-3100. Folks, the daughter of the late Congresswoman Shelia Jackson Lee wants to complete her mother's congressional term. Erica Lee Carter posted on social media announcing that she wants to finish what her mother started. Now, of course, Congresswoman Shelia Jackson Lee passed away 3 weeks ago, and her daughter announced she wants to finish her term. So let me explain what's happening in Houston. So there are going to be actually two elections. There's going to be election to finish the term of Congresswoman Shelia Jackson Lee, which ends, the 118th Congress, which ends in January, before the new Congress is sworn in. Then you have the new 2-year term. Now, Sylvester Turner, former mayor of Houston, he announced that he was running. Now, what's interesting is that the children of Congresswoman Shelia Jackson Lee announced they were endorsing him for the seat. Well, now the daughter is running. So, again, that's what's going on there. Now, the way what's happening is the precinct chairs in Houston, there are 88 precinct chairs. They in the district, they will determine who is going to actually be on the ballot to run against the Republican running. So Mayor Turner posted this just yesterday on his Twitter page that he's already got 30 endorsements from Congressional District 18 precinct chairs. So he is almost halfway to garnering all the votes necessary. He also, of course, he's already been endorsed by the Houston Chronicle as well. And in the interview with him, he also gave an interview where he said that he wants to be a transitional leader. He does not want to serve in Congress more than 2 terms. He wants to be a bridge between his generation and the next generation. The reason I think this is interesting when you look at this, and so, you know, again, people were texting me, Nola, like, oh my God, what's going on? I thought the children endorsed what's going on. And so I haven't reached out to Mayor Turner, but his focus is really on the 2-year term, not the final 3 months or whatever. But that's really not going to be, the decision is really going to be up to those precinct chairs. But I do think it is smart. He's hugely popular, 2-term mayor. Before that was in the Texas legislature for 27 years. And I do think it is important to be able to have someone with his experience, as he said to the Houston Chronicle, he already knows all the political players at HUD in the various departments to bring resources back to the district. And what it does is it allows for the grooming of the next generation. I'll be honest, there were many people who were very critical when Congresswoman decided to run for mayor of Houston. Several younger folks dropped out. Chris Hollins was one of them. She ended up running, losing by 30 points to now Mayor John Whitmire. You know, a lot of people were problematic with that. And I do think it is important for one generation to set up the next generation when it comes to public office.
I agree with you. You definitely know more about this particular race than I do. I will say, you know, when she died, that a lot happened that weekend, and I'll never forget it because I was outside with a lot of people that knew her, and it was a profound moment, you know, for the community. And it was the same weekend that POTUS decided to not run and then endorse VP. So that in and of itself was a historic moment. And so in terms of this race, I think one of the things that popped into my mind is this. I take your point about wanting to be a transitional congressman, but at the same time, wouldn't the daughter be that figure, or am I misunderstanding?
Well, it comes down to, I mean, listen, if you had to compare resumes, the daughter of Congresswoman Shelia Jackson Lee does not stack up to Mayor Sylvester Turner. It doesn't. Okay, so then in that sense, she's basically running on the legacy of her mom, right? Yeah. Well, and remember, she's not running for the two. You got to remember, she's not running for the 2-year term. She only wants to serve out the remaining of her term left, which essentially is now through January. Right. So I understand those dynamics. I guess I'll just say this. I would hope, because I think it's important to have her legacy continued. And I would hope that they would be able to find some sort of way where she could be part of the political process and maybe get some of those things on her resume and not just completely, you know, discount her because her resume doesn't stack up against the mayor's. So hopefully maybe there's a way that they can come together and maybe figure out a way where she can be involved in a political process, because I'm sure a lot of people in the late Congresswoman's district would like to see that legacy continued. Well, and I think you've had people, Larry, who actually criticize that, who say that the children of members of Congress shouldn't be guaranteed seats in Congress just because your mother or father served in that capacity.
Well, you know, Roland, you know, I'm a former staffer, Hill staffer, and listen, it's been going on for a long time, for generations. And yeah, you know, there are a lot of people who agree, you know, make the point that nepotism shouldn't determine who has a congressional seat. I got to tell you that, you know, I saw this, you know, the release comments from, you know, former Congressman Jackson Lee's daughter, and I was a bit confused about what was going on here, particularly as you said that they had already endorsed Mayor Turner. So I'm not really clear about what's the family dynamics, politics involved in that. Another point I do have to highlight, to be fair, Roland, the legislative calendar between now and, you know, when a new Congress is going to be sworn in, there's not that many days left because it's an election year. So, but obviously she has the right to you know, if she wants to finish up her seat. But I think, as you said, you know, Mayor Turner has been around for a long time. And certainly, like you say, he knows all the stakeholders, not only in the state, but some of the, you know, people at the federal level. So he certainly would make a great, you know, representative for the district. And also, I like the fact that he talked about being a transitional leader. Too often in our, not only in the Black community, but generally politicians, you know, even someone moving mayor to member of Congress want to hold on with positions to too long. And so I was glad to see he sees himself as a transitional leader.
You know, but one of the things that often happens, Mustafa, is that, you know, we have folks who serve in positions for 20, 30, 40 years, and they don't necessarily groom the next generation. You've got Amanda Edwards, who ran against Congresswoman Jackson Lee, who lost in the primary. She's run for several other positions and served one term on the Houston City Council, who's running as well. I believe a former state representative, Jarvis Johnson, is also throwing his hat in the ring as well. So it's a whole lot of action going on here. But this is one of the things that I do think is important when we're talking about how do you continue Black power. you have to be creating a bench. You have to be identifying people who want to serve. But what it also means that sometimes folks actually leave office as opposed to die in office. I'm not specifically just talking about Congresswoman Shelia Jackson Lee. I'm just speaking, holistically. That's also one of the problems because, listen, she passed away at the age of 74. A lot of times when they say, hey, wait your turn, sometimes that person is going to be in their 50s before they can actually serve. A lot of times you want younger leadership but here's the other deal. Congress, as Larry knows and you know, and Noah knows, it's all about seniority. So seniority matters. And so people always talk about, man, we need younger folks involved, not realizing that the system that's set up is actually designed for seniority. So if you're in your late 60s, 70s, and 80s, you've been there 30 years, you've accumulated a whole lot of power and a whole lot of chips that you can use.
Well, you hit it on the head. It is about systems change. And we know how difficult systems change is just in everyday life, let alone on Capitol Hill, where, as you said, time equates to power. I used to work for, John Conyers, who was chairman of the Judiciary Committee. And I love him to death. He was there for a very long time and understood by being there that it gave him the opportunity to play a critical role. As we take a look at this next set of opportunities that are in front of us, I had a conversation earlier with a strategist about succession planning. And how do we actually make sure that becomes a reality inside of our community so that we have that deep bench that you had mentioned before? And that means that some of the ego needs to get left at the door. That also means that we've got to properly prepare folks to be able to move into these positions. But even before you get in there, that you make the right moves so that you have the skill sets and capacity that's necessary. And that's not just on the legislative side of the sort of agenda, if you will. It is really understanding these dynamics. How do you raise money? How do you not get caught up in some of the traps that we know that are out there for folks inside of our community and outside of our community? There are all these different dynamics that are a part of succession planning and making sure that we are helping the next sets of generations to have what they need, both the skills and the opportunities and the resources. And that means that if we're going to be serious about that, then folks are going to have to fund that. And we're going to have to make sure we get the right individuals who actually walk these halls and bend down these processes to become a reality. But it means that we've got to create space to make sure that people are ready.
Indeed. Folks, let's go talk about Minnesota, where a white state trooper who killed a black motorist could be back on the job very soon. Ryan Longren was cleared in June of second-degree murder charges, the death of Ricky Cobb II during a 2023 traffic stop. Longren was charged with second-degree murder after shooting and killing Cobb on the morning of July 31st, 2023. Troopers had pulled Cobb over on Interstate 94 in Minneapolis, saying the lights were out on his car before learning Cobb was wanted for violating a domestic no-contact order in another county. Troopers ordered Cobb out of the car, but he started to drive away, and Longren shot the man twice. He claimed he feared for his life, of his partner, and said Cobb was reaching for his state-issued pistol. Now that he no longer faces charges, Longren can be reinstated as a state trooper and must complete additional training. Keep in mind, the prosecutor wanted to charge him, but Governor Tim Walz said he would have removed the prosecutor had they moved forward with that. Got to go to a break. We'll be right back. Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
Coming soon to the Black Star Network.
I still have my NFL contract in my house. Having a case. It's 4 of them for my 4-year contract. I got a $600,000 signing bonus. My base salary for that first year was $150,000. Matter of fact,
$150,000.
$150,000. That's what I made. $150,000. Now think about it. My signing bonus was a forgivable loan, supposedly. When I got traded to the Colts, they made me pay back my signing bonus to them. I had to give them their $600,000 back.
Wow.
Yeah, I was so pissed. Because, I try to be a man of my word. I'm like, you, I'll give you your money back. Even though I know I earned that money, right. I gave them money back. I gave them $600,000 back. But content. I was a bad guy. I'm about the money. It wasn't about the money. It was about doing right. Because I looked at, because you look at contract. Look at John Edwards. John Edwards was making $1 million, $800,000. I was making $150. I mean, I was doing everything. And I'm like, but yet I got so many letters, so I just play for free and all that kind of stuff. I mean, you don't forget that kind of stuff.
Right.
That stuff is hurtful.
What's good, y'all? This is Doug E. Fresh, and you're watching my brother Roland Martin Unfiltered as we go a little something like this. Hit it. It's real.
Yusef Salaam, the New York City councilman wrongly imprisoned as a member of the Central Park Five, now called the Exonerated Five, has been invited to speak at the Democratic National Convention next week in Chicago. He was one of the teens targeted by Donald Trump, who took out newspaper ads in 1989 calling for New York State to bring back the death penalty after a group of Black and Latino teenagers were arrested and accused of raping a white woman in Central Park. They were later cleared by DNA evidence and a confession by the perpetrator. And the city paid a settlement of more than $40 million for their wrongful imprisonment. Since then, they've been called again the Exonerated Five. And remember, in the last election, Donald Trump doubled down and said he did not regret actually doing that. Speaking of the next week's Democratic National Convention, while that's going on, Vice President Kamala Harris and Governor Tim Walz, they're going to leave Chicago and go to Milwaukee. Go to my iPad. They've already announced that they plan a rally in Milwaukee on Tuesday. Not sure what time. Now remember, the schedule is President Joe Biden speaks on Monday. Former President Barack Obama speaks on Tuesday. Bill Clinton on Wednesday. Vice President Harris speaks on Thursday. But according to the New York Times story, Harris and Walz they plan on holding a rally in Milwaukee. Here's why that is important, Mustafa. We saw this here. In 2022, 50,000 fewer people voted in Milwaukee than 2020. Had those 50,000 people voted in 2022, then Wisconsin Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes would be now the United States Senator. Instead, MAGA Senator Ron Johnson got reelected. And so it's important for the Harris-Walz campaign to really lock in Minnesota and maximize the voters there, especially the Black vote.
Yeah, and it also shows that you care by showing up and spending time with folks, which is incredibly important. They also understand that they have, a condensed amount of time to actually hit all the places they need to multiple times. So taking advantage of both the energy that will be a part of the DNC, the cameras that will be focusing on Democrats, and then making sure that you're taking that energy to these other states is incredibly important. So it's smart politically. And it will also help folks who maybe hadn't had the opportunity to hear from both of them yet to get up close and to be able to make a decision about if they want to share their vote with them or not.
I think it is smart politics. You take advantage of your proximity. Milwaukee is only 80 miles away from Chicago. They're going to be holding this likely in the same place where the Republican National Convention took place as well. And so this is smart politics. Now, of course, those of us in media, it's like, damn, we're already going to be in Chicago. Now you're trying to go to Milwaukee, and then you got to get back to Chicago. But that's a whole different deal there. But Wisconsin is a critical state. Harris-Walz must win that state, and they are not trying to do what the Hillary Clinton campaign did in 2016, where she never stepped foot in Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm. Listen, first of all, I love the energy. They are all over the place, which they should be. Like Coach said today, it's only 84 days left. that means they are going to be busy moment to moment to moment. And that also tells me something as a voter. That tells me that these two together are going to be energized for the American people inside that Oval Office. You know, there's a lot going on, not just in our country, there's a lot going on around the world. And one of the things that's important to me is that I know our leader is going to have a lot of energy to tackle all of the issues, you know, that are happening. And to your point, you know, 2016, there were tons of postmortems that were done after Hillary Clinton lost the race, and that was one of them. And the one thing that I've really admired about this campaign, even before POTUS decided that he wasn't going to run, is that the ground game has been strong. You know, all the different offices around the country that have been open, you know, knocking on doors, the just the kind of old school type of campaigning that has been going on, and VP has inherited that machine, which is one of the reasons why it has been so seamless. So I'm excited for the energy. I say yes, it makes absolute sense to go there because of proximity, and the media is just going to have to catch up.
Larry?
So the saying goes, there's no rest for the weary. And so we're, you know, we're only, you know, less than 3 months out. It is a sprint to the finish. And also this is you know, the VP is dealing with a condensed schedule because, you know, the convention's next week, and she was just, you know, confirmed to have enough delegates not long ago. So you got to work. And, you know, we see on the other side that Donald Trump basically didn't do anything last week. He gave a speech in Montana, which is a red state, and he's obviously going to carry that state. So if you're going to get that same kind of low energy on the Republican side, on the Democratic side, you want to make sure you're out there hustling like you're selling mixtapes in the 80s and 90s, because you don't want, you know, a few months from now say, hey, you know what, I wish we had done this, done that. No, it is a sprint. It is time to go to work. You won't get any rest, but you can sleep after the inauguration.
And not only that, so Thursday, Vice President Harris is going to be with President Biden in Milwaukee. On Friday, she travels to Raleigh, North Carolina, where she's going to be unveiling some of her economic proposals. They were supposed to be in Raleigh last week, but those tropical storms that were all over the East Coast, that rain was just sitting on top of the Carolinas, kept them from having that event there in North Carolina. So that's what's going on. So it's going to be pretty interesting, again, having Harris-Walz holding a rally in Milwaukee next Tuesday, the same time Democratic National Convention is happening in Chicago. Speaking of that, folks, we're going to be live in Chicago all week. Our team arrives on Sunday. Beginning Monday, we're going to be broadcasting every single day from 6 p.m. to midnight. Folks, y'all don't have to waste your time watching those other networks. Y'all already know you ain't going to see any black people. You might get one. So CNN going to show you, they're going to show you Van Jones. They might throw Bakari on there. So MSNBC, you know, you're probably going to see Joanne Reed. Fox News, they ain't showing nobody black. And ABC, NBC, CBS, ain't gonna be no black people. And so if y'all want the real deal, if y'all want the true black perspective, if y'all want to see the real kind of coverage, tune in to our coverage on the Black Star Network app, our YouTube channel. Again, we're live in Chicago Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern, every single day. Looking forward to being there. And so your support is absolutely critical for the work that we're doing. And so we can't wait to bring you all the voices. It's a whole, let me tell y'all something. I was telling Carol, my producers, yesterday, going to the DNC with all them black people is like going to Essence. It's going to be stuff happening, breakfast stuff, lunch stuff, afternoon stuff, evening stuff. The convention is going to be watch parties. It's going to be concerts after each night is over. So I'm just telling y'all right now, I remember it was 18-hour days for me in 2016, 2012, covering the convention. Of course, you had COVID in 2020. So we got all of that. So it's a whole lot that will be going on. And we're going to have all the coverage for you next week. So this is the place y'all tune in. And I'm just going to tell y'all right now, ain't nobody else doing this. All the other black-owned media, they're not doing any of this. None of them. We're going to be there every single day, 6 hours every single night. And so please, y'all tune in to support us. And don't forget to support us in what we do. Join our Bring the Fuck fan club. So you're checking money order to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C., 20037-0196. Cash App, $RM Unfiltered. PayPal, R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Be right back.
On the next Get Wealthy with me, Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, Black Americans have 1/10 the wealth of their white counterparts. But how did we get here? It's a huge gap. Well, that's why we need to know the history and what we need to do to turn our income into wealth. Financial author and journalist Rodney Brooks joins us to tell us exactly what we need to do to achieve financial success.
You can't talk about why we are, as Black people, where we are, unless you talk about how we got here.
Bridging the gap and getting wealthy, only on Black Star Network.
Next on A Balanced Life, we're talking everything from prayer to exercise to positive affirmations and everything that's needed to keep you strong and along your way. That's on a next A Balanced Life with me, Dr. Jackie, on Black Star Network.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kim Coles.
Hey, I'm Donnie Simpson.
Yo, it's your man Dion Cole from Blackish, and you watch
Roland Martin, Unfiltered.
All right, folks. Time for our marketplace segment. Kimberly Gray is a tech entrepreneur, patent owner, and CEO of UVI. Also, creator of the NSYNC feedback platform, which was created as an interactive survey that links to donations and provides real-time feedback for political campaigns. She joins us now from New York. So, Kimberly, explain this technology.
Hi, Roland. Thanks so much for having me today. Yes, I'm Kimberly Gray. I'm the CEO of UVI. We are a New York City-based software company providing communication and data solutions for organizations in the public and private sector. And our software platform, NSYNC, is a video-enabled, one of the first ever video-enabled survey apps that instantly allow organizations to communicate with their audience in real time. So what does that mean? Video testimonials with transcription, with AI insights, and it can easily be accessed by QR codes that go to an online survey platform. So we've been working with organizations to really help them understand what people are thinking in the moment, in their thoughts in the moment. And now more than ever, we need real-time engagement tools to understand what the people are thinking, what your customers are thinking in real time.
Okay, so how does that work politically? So what are you actually surveying? What are you trying to find out in real time?
Everything anybody would want to know about this election. And just to be clear, we do surveys for private sector organizations, companies like Hearst, working with them on supplier diversity, working with higher education and the city of New York. We're based in New York City. We're an MWBE certified vendor. But for this election, you know, especially in these battleground states, so many people want to know in real time, what are people thinking?
So how does that work? So for instance, okay, fine. You got 7 battleground states. So do you have do you have 20,000, 30,000 people in each one of those states who you're regularly going back to survey? Is it broken down by demographic? And so in terms of, so how many people are you reaching? Are you surveying? Are you going back to those people every week, each month? So explain that.
Right. So that's something that we're building out now. We're based in New York City, so we've been working with local city council elections. So now I think, and that's why I'm here today, is to provide this platform as an opportunity for people to be able to get that feedback in real time. So yes, because it's so easily accessible, it can be deployed just in a link from your website, in an SMS. So if you want to know what people are thinking in real time, we can facilitate that digitally.
Right, and right. So who is it, but I'm saying, who is it going to? So if you're a campaign, so like, do you have the database or is it their database? how does that work? So, for instance, I was talking to a major donor, and they were talking about there's a pollster who worked with the Obama campaign. So he has a grouping of 80,000 people who he polls and surveys every single month. And that's broken down, it's nationally, it's broken down by state, it's broken down by zip code. And so that's what I'm asking. You have the technology piece, but in terms of how do you reach those people?
Right.
Do you have that grouping, or is that what a campaign has?
Yeah, so we can provide that for the campaign. So another reason that I'm here today is to provide these services for the campaign. So what it will enable you to do is to create the survey. In the back end of our cloud-based platform, you can access all of the responses. Everything's intake only, which is really important because you don't have to worry about disseminating any messaging and worry about people, presenting a lot of the things you deal with comments that you can't control. So this is a very controlled environment that allows you to, in real time, see the responses of people. And from those responses, we take transcriptions and tags for different keywords. So if people are very concerned about, let's say, the Supreme Court decision and the next potential nominees, they can talk about that. If they want to talk about abortion rights, they can talk about that. Because our system allows you with transcription to tag all of these keywords. And it's super simple, it's super interactive. And unlike watching the news or a broadcast, you can actually put your voice out there in real time, have those videos that can be shared on other platforms as well.
So what political campaigns have y'all done this for up to now?
Right. So we recently created one for the Harris-Walz campaign, which I would love to have presented at the upcoming DNC, because again, we're the only platform that actually allows the people to talk about what they're thinking in the moment. So imagine, and we do a lot of events, right? We've done tech events. So scanning this QR code in real time, you can actually, provide this information to the campaign directly because they're the ones who will be able to see the responses. So virtually, in person, this is a great way to just really understand what people are saying, right? Because when you're on calls, it's rare that everybody gets a chance to say something. So this is a way to capture all that information in real time and provide solutions and actionable data.
Questions for the panel. Nola, you first.
So first of all, thank you so much. I am a big tech nerd. I use a lot of tech in my classrooms, and also as a political scientist, I definitely appreciate the social science and the computer data science built into this technology. So two questions. So is it something like, say, like if I'm using an app in my class that creates some sort of word cloud by students like tagging certain words, and I can say, these are the things that you all are thinking about? Or is it something like, say, being part of a coalition of academics, and we are submitting our very strategic questions, to a larger company that then goes and runs these surveys for us that we pay a lot of money for to make that happen? Is it something in the middle? Is it something more accessible than that? And also,
it's way more accessible than that. And I actually have some patented technology. It's called Action Command Messaging. And simply put, it allows you to share any type of text to the video capture screen in real time. And one of our first customers was actually in higher education with Medgar Evers College. We launched around COVID when everybody was going remote. And at that time, we saw an 80% increase in student engagement using the platform. So to your point, yes, those videos, those text responses do turn into tags or keywords, which you can identify hero words to understand what everybody is thinking or what the most popular answers are. So essentially taking kind of unstructured data, which you find in qualitative surveys, and turning it into structured data, which you have quantitative results for. So if
is this like SurveyMonkey?
Yeah, well, SurveyMonkey, a lot of the times they use templates to create surveys. They're our survey is about 65% response rate, which is extremely high and very engaging. And theirs is around 15%. But I would say the major difference is with SurveyMonkey, they usually do a lot of net promoter scores, which is like, oh, on a scale of 1 to 10, how great are we? You know, whereas we focus on a lot of short answer responses, which really allows voters or just customers or people in general to really express themselves. And we take that information and utilize AI to simplify it and provide responses for campaigns, for businesses to really understand what people are thinking in the moment.
Gotcha. Where can, actually, I'll ask the question later. Larry, you're next.
Yeah, so really quick. So I'm a social scientist, so you said 65%. So I need to know how that's happened, why is it so high? And then secondly, what do you do about securing people's personal data?
Okay, so with the 65%, that's based on an engagement rate. So if we send the survey, to 100 people, and we get more than 65 people responding, that's very, very high. And then
so what's the largest grouping that you sent it out to?
At this point, you mean for surveying for campaigns or
no for anything? I mean, how many? What's the largest group?
5,000.
5,000. And so you're saying you got a 65% response rate on that 5,000?
From the people who actually clicked and responded to it, yes.
So I think what Larry was asking, because it made it sound like if you sent the 5,000, 65% of the 5,000 responded. So, but you said it's 65% of those that clicked it.
Right, clicked.
So
and in terms of
what was that number? So you sent the 5,000. How many clicked it?
Yeah, so of the clicks for that, it would be like more like that actually respond. Like, so you actually have to respond to the survey. So let's put that in more like of 1,000 range. And then based on that, we get a 65%.
So you sent the 5,000, 1,000 responded. That's 20. That's actually 20%. And you're saying of the 20% that responded, you had 65% response rate.
Correct. And then also within the completion rate of the entirety of the survey.
Got it.
Because a lot of times when people do surveys, there's a bit of a dropout rate.
Are you clear, Larry?
Yeah, I'm clear on that. Thank you for clearing that up. I appreciate it.
Mustafa?
Thank you.
Yeah, well, Ms. Gray, congratulations on being able to create this. I'm curious, sort of on the back end, in relationship to the QR code you had mentioned before.
Yes.
Are there any concerns that if that actually got out while you were doing surveys, that you would get folks, who weren't true to the game, if I could say it that way, and were trying to do some nefarious things?
Yeah, I mean, I think we limit that a lot because it's intake only. So on the back end, all of the responses are in an admin portal, right? So, the organization that we're deploying the survey for, they have access to those responses, all of the videos, all the transcriptions, user data. You can also respond anonymously with a text response as well. But we haven't had any security issues as yet. And this isn't, because it's not public facing, everything's intake only. It's a much more efficient way to really get, honest and true data, and not things that are just, people are just trying to show off or make an impression. So this is a new technology. We've been utilizing it in the government sector, working with city agencies here in New York and mostly with higher ed. But I think opening it up just for a feedback tool for businesses, for organizations, to really understand what people are thinking and give them the opportunity to share their thoughts.
All right, then. All right, well, Kimberly, we appreciate it. Thanks a bunch. Good luck with the technology.
Thanks so much.
All right, thank you so very much. All right, folks, that is it for us. Let me thank Larry, Nola, and Mustafa for being with us on today's show. Thank you so very much. Nola, where the gumbo? You keep talking about how you can actually burn, but you ain't never, ever given anybody an opportunity. What? I'm just saying.
It's 85 degrees outside today. What are you talking about?
That means you not... Did you actually bring up the temperature?
I did.
Are you really from Louisiana?
Boy, bye.
I'm just saying, because, my grandparents, my Opelousas, we eat gumbo all the time. 100 degrees, 85 degrees. I didn't realize that was an outdoor temperature cap when it comes to eating gumbo.
Well, thank you for your family's philosophy regarding gumbo making, but I'm not making it on 85 degrees and humidity. We're not doing that.
Larry, go ahead, chime in.
Make sure you're sharing. That's all I'm saying.
I would be more than happy to. I don't know about that one, but I'd be more than happy to, Larry. But.
So I'm sorry. So what's your temperature cap?
When you see me with a nice fuzzy robe, when you see me with some cocoa.
You ain't answering the question. What's the cap? Is it 58? Is it 60? Is it 55? What's your temperature? Like, what's...
Okay, I'll do you one better. Thanksgiving, Christmas, you got it.
You ain't no real ass gumbo person. Cause see, if you a real gumbo person, you can have, listen, my family, it can be 105.
I'm happy for your family.
You fake. See, I can't. I'm
into making gumbo in 85
Mustafa, I'm snatching Louisiana gumbo cards. That's what I'm doing right now.
I'm talking a whole bunch of mess, but I ain't never tasted none of your gumbo.
First of all, I fix gumbo. I ain't got a problem with it.
On Twitter.
We have no evidence of you making gumbo.
Oh, okay.
Are there photos? Are there videos?
Where are yours?
Hold up, let me look.
Oh,
first of all, baby, you can go to hashtag Gumbo Wars.
You going to the iPad?
Oh, hell yeah, I'm going to the iPad on your ass. I'm going to the iPad. No, I'm going, hold on right now. I want everybody to see me searching her ass. Go to my iPad. So y'all see, I'm on her Twitter feed. Now I'm clicking media. Okay, and we see you smiling, family photos. We see that photo, some kids, some books.
Yes.
Lord have mercy, I don't see no gumbo.
It was Christmas last year when I called you out.
I don't see no.
When I called you out.
I don't see no.
It was Christmas.
Look, I'm scrolling. Y'all, I'm already in July. Let me keep going. I don't see nothing. Matter of fact, I don't see no food at all. I mean, I don't see. Lord have mercy. Hold up, what was that? Was that some food? What the hell was that? Some breadsticks? What? I see a fan. No, hell no, that was a fan. That was an African fan. She ain't got no. I mean, I don't.
Leave me alone.
I'm waiting for my daddy to send me a text because I know my daddy said she ain't real. We do gumbo any time of the year. All you temperature control Negroes.
The only thing that
you are some temperature control Negroes.
The only thing I eat 24/7 is red beans and rice on Mondays. That's 24/7.
Your ass you only eat red beans and rice on Mondays?
You about to start on a New Orleans menu. We're not about to do that.
What the hell is wrong with Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
Monday is our red beans and rice day. Mr. Know-It-All.
I just can't believe we ain't come across not now, nothing. I mean, you talk a lot.
Two other guests here. Why are you picking on me?
You talk a lot of trash.
You start with me.
You talk a lot of. Let me go ahead and stand up. Let me see. See if you pull up. See, let me go ahead and educate you on something right now. Y'all pull a cat. Let me just educate you on something right now. See, did I not just tell y'all? If you just pull up Gumbo Wars, the hashtag, boom, first one that comes up. Look at that. Scroll, listen. See, this, my daddy handling his business. See, you don't even, turn the audio up. Oh, yeah. We got the right music. We got the 40-quart pot.
What's the green stuff?
We got all that. First of all, girl, it's called a stock pot.
16 or 20. What's the green stuff?
The hell you mean, what's the green stuff?
What is it?
Oh my God, she don't know what she talking about, y'all. Oh my God, she don't know. Look at this here. See all that? See this hashtag Gumbo Wars? You see all that? Where your stuff at? We don't see nothing in here from Nola. Nothing.
Cooking is a thing that me and my mom did, and we also had a catering company. It's very near and dear to my heart.
You had a catering company?
Yeah, we did.
How long you catered?
Well, it paid for my UCLA undergrad education, so 3 years.
3 years? Mm-hmm. Girl, please, I catered from the age of 7 to 30.
That's great.
You talking to a grown man. That's gumbo right there.
Okay.
And it ain't gotta be cold.
Cold? Why would it be cold?
No. Carol said, ain't no okra. I don't like okra in my gumbo.
Can you let me go
now? My mama like okra in her gumbo, but I ain't doing okra in the gumbo. What you say, Nola?
I said I'm missing my mama. So can
we missing your mom too, and we missing that. But I'm gonna need you in this temperature check. We're gonna have to work on that, Nola, because this whole, it got to be 54. I gotta be in some fuzzy shoes, and some fleece. Don't make no.
Why it has to be your mood setting and it can't be mine? That's what I don't understand. Why I gotta cater to you and your needs?
Easy. Because real gumbo people can eat it any time of the year.
I can eat it. I'm talking about cooking it.
I'm done with you.
Listen, I volunteer, so I'm volunteering. All gumbo, you can send all gumbo.
I'm done with you.
I volunteer for everybody.
I sent you some jambalaya too, boo.
Listen, my damn watch. I'm so mad. I watched beep and it looked like I took a hard fall because I slammed my hand down. I'm done with you. Nola, I'm done with you.
Night.
Nola, I'm done with you. I'm done with you.
Have fun in Chicago.
We're going to wait till the temperature drop, and then we're going to see what your skills are. Maybe. Maybe. All right, Larry, Nola, Mustafa, I appreciate it. I'll holler at y'all. Again, folks, a couple of things. Don't forget, if y'all want to get that T-shirt, My Black Job is Voting, go to dationsdesigns.com, use the QR code, go to the website. Y'all can get that. You use the promo code Roland, and then, of course, you can, by doing that, of course, you get a discount, and a portion of that comes back to the show, so we certainly appreciate that. Don't forget, folks, also support the work that we do. Join our Bring the Funk fan club. Send your check and money order, P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C., 20037-0196. Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal, R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. And of course, folks, I'm going to be in Cincinnati on Thursday, the Black Family Reunion. Y'all come out to Corinthian Baptist Church. So go to myblackfamilyreunion.org to get your tickets. Can't wait to see y'all there. All right, folks. Somebody put on YouTube, Roland, you being petty. Yes, I'm King Petty. Yes, you're right. And then let's see here. Somebody said, I don't like andouille sausage. It's nasty. That's too Black Native. Well, make your own damn gumbo. See, I can't stand Negroes like that. See, some of y'all are some special Negroes. See, y'all are is that beef sausage? Is that pork sausage? Is there seafood in there? Let me explain something to y'all, okay? All y'all special gumbo Negroes, we make a little bitty ass pot for y'all, okay? A little bitty ass 1 quart pot for y'all, all right? So we make gumbo for regular people. I don't know when Black people had to start eating all this special ass food. We don't make no gluten-free damn gumbo, okay? Just letting your asses know. Ain't no gluten-free gumbo, all right? So if you want some gluten-free gumbo, call Nola. I ain't helping you out. I'm just letting you know, okay? It's gonna be some damn chicken in there. It's gonna be some damn andouille sausages in there. And it's gonna be some damn shrimp in there, okay? All right, and you want some okra? Look, make yourself a little okra on the side and dump it in your bowl. But we ain't doing all that. So just letting y'all know. All right, I gotta go. I'm hungry. I'll see y'all later. Holla! Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Hold no punches! I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland. Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?